86. 99% of all nations have signed and ratified the 1967 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, including its Article 6 requiring negotiation of both nuclear plus general and complete disarmament, meaning all shit that goes boom and kills everybody. I've hit you with many hours of my own treaty designs, easily decades ambition. But extinction storms far sooner, so citizens of every nation sue in your federal courts to enforce already present world and your own national laws now only ignored, abrogated, violated. Here is Article 6. Each of the parties to the treaty undertakes to pursue negotiations in good faith on effective measures relating to cessation of the nuclear arms race at an early date and to nuclear disarmament, and on a treaty on general and complete disarmament under strict and effective international control. You have endured my dozens of hours ranting about world conventional weapons to the moon slaughter and humanity's rush to 90 seconds to nuclear doomsday, both over 57 post-treaty years, while not one of 193 signatories has lifted a finger to obey the Article 6 heart and purpose of the NNPT. Now, your horrific history lesson and present desperate anger should make you ready, your own lawyer, to read the Riot Act to a federal court. Your Honor, ratified treaties are national, not just international laws, that constitutions order every single officer of national governments, presidents, senators, and congressmen, and especially you federal judges to uphold, obey, enforce. Please review our brief describing the history of arms control, certainly not elimination negotiations. While 100 trillion in today's dollars nurtured ever-expanding World Murder Incorporated, not 1% of this weaponry's production was lawfully slowed, much less halted. True, 36,000 nuclear bombs were reduced to 9,000, but are still vast overkill, now dooming 8 billion as soon as Ukraine drone bomb kills a dozen Russian apartment dwellers to spark Russian nuclear destruction of Ukraine, NATO invasion of Moscow, then Russian ICBM attack of Europe and America, killing humanity's entire 8 billion minus a few tunnel rats with years of oxygen, food, and water. All nuclear weapon danger reduction negotiations were undertaken in bad faith to keep deployed on submarines 12 city destroyers on each of many hundreds of missiles. And all nations complacently ignore the dozen more nations approaching easy-peasy nuclear arsenal initiation. Negotiators, of course, were all paid by government officials winning elections with ads bought by the damn weapons companies, getting in return government weapons contracts. 193 nations swore in writing that they had already begun negotiating actual nuclear and conventional disarmament. Turns out they were lying then and ever since. Will you hear the government defendant claim that an official signature on a world law, if quietly, deliberately, totally insincere, therefore absolves him of any responsibility to carry out its orders and promises, and also relieves him of complicity, enforcement, and punishment if he abrogates the treaty? All of Article 6 required steady disarmament until fully achieved under strict, effective international control. Did not the NNPT's text's avoidance of spelling out such control power details mandate negotiators in each of 57 years since to hammer out just such enforcement, without which virtually no weapons will ever be destroyed? Yes, Article 6's strict, effective language so states. My angry opinion merely agrees. Why does our lawsuit place all disarmament scheduling, negotiation, and enforcement in your hands of oversight, Judge? Not for your 100% dictation, but certainly iron control of national obedience to sincere, progressive negotiation towards actual disarmament. As fast as the 57-year universal stonewalling of the treaty slowed all cooperation to a permanent halt. Because your kids and everybody else's are 90 seconds from midnight on the Union of Concerned Scientists' doomsday clock until you intervene. Because while 8 billion ignore the law and 193 governments break it, the one man or woman with enforcement power and constitution ordered to exercise that power is you. You federal judges in every nation. I conspire with private citizens in many nations, we earthlings all doomed by the deliberate 100% NNPT failure. We work on filing equivalent suits, demanding those national governments' treaty obedience also. The 184 non-bomb nations' courts and leaders will be an easier and faster sell, obviously. In each where we win this suit, treaty compliance will mean each nation's threat and preparation to fully embargo and otherwise peacefully bring the big bomb dogs to heel. Each party's effective measures, n'est-ce pas? Judge, you will have a powerful, if also illegal, evil motive to deny this plaintiff victory. If you help us, you'll be in for masses, indeed years of work. Every other nation court-ordered to also treaty comply will become your negotiating partner. No nation's government, so many weaponeer and power corrupted, may be trusted to sustain good faith disarmament negotiations. Every ordering judge will have to oversee and guide those talks. Destroying weapons and ceasing manufacture is the 100% purpose and method of disarmament. In contrast to the 57 years of arms control games played only to continue unlimited weapons production and sales forever undertaken by the worldwide treaty destroyers. By total contrast, this year's 10th or other fraction of all weapons destroyed and assembly lines halted, sales and delivery blocked by every worst offender must become and remain your enforceable bottom line. Refusal of compliance has to be increasingly punished until reversed. Economic pressure on the 24 worst weaponeering nations will fail until the smaller nation gang-up grows above 150 nations. Until then, strict and effective treaty measures will not even begin. That's why we prepare suits in all those nations today. Judge, to understand how and why you must act so precipitously and permanently to save humanity and your family from approaching nuclear death, allow me to relate human history. His story, patriarchy, suddenly began 10,000 years ago upon the advent of agriculture. For 2 million years, say anthropologists, women committed to tiny family and hunter-gatherer survival demanded that men lean every savage weapon, so necessary to kill animals for meat, against the cave walls, never to gash and crush another human being. Pre-agriculture, zero-war fossil records prove the 100% humanity success of our blessed matriarchy. They told the boys, attack one human with those hunting weapons and no lovin', no kids, and no replacement hunters for you, mister. Then what happened? A terrible drought, drying up all berries, also ran off all game animals 100 miles away to hunt their water and food. Sociologists believe that starving hunters then murderously raided one of the first new farms for its last grain and bread supplies, while drying rains and rivers shrunk and browned this year's crops too. Technology plus natural disaster destroyed kindness, care, love, and indeed humanity. Agriculture's population boom established village, nation, and world war dictators over ever-expanding military technology. 2 million years of matriarch's total peace suddenly went black, beginning our permanent army patriarch's nightmare. 10 millennia's 1 billion battle and genocide slaughtered. Now we are figurative seconds from going the exact way of the other sextillion planets that met every oxygen, water, temperate climate, and organic molecule requirement for 100 million years intelligent life, except for everyone's 2 booby traps: uranium and fossil fuels. If just one of every trillion so life-capable grew powerful beings like us, who banned their nuclear bombs before they all went off, as we must to survive, then millions would have filled our radio telescopes with mathematics and music. Instead, dead silence. Now a few did survive to visit us. 1,000 1950s newspapers in America, the primary nuke test flash exporter to deep space, reported flying saucers, a number hovering over missile silos, turning off launch controls. Ban your bombs, pantomimed the likely space patrollers from Alpha Centauri's nearby Earth-like planet, astronomers reasonably speculate. We had to survive and come warn you. Your Honor, technology destroys humanity, ethically and physically. You must control, reverse, and ban human murder technologies to save us. One long, tough job, because each devil science builds institutions to grow and perpetuate it. Our only defenses are constitutions which proclaim government of, by, and for the people. Necessarily against technology that only thrives on production of violent aggression that abuses and kills entire populations. Against all humanity are technologies of war and excess CO2 burning energy and financial schemes of corporate bribery of elected leaders with private campaign propaganda money to keep them in office in return for 1,000 times bigger tax contracts, and sweetheart non-regulation to boom company power to build their vast riches until our certain extinction. This plaintiff is involved in an organization to sue in as many nations as possible to replace private bribery with public campaign finance. obey the NNPT's total disarmament tenet, and use the trillions saved to scrub fatal CO2 excess from our air, and gather ocean steam and coastal flood fresh water to save plants and people before normalized stratosphere CO2 can restore our planet's regular, sufficient rainfall and temperate climate. As unrestrained technology rushes human extinction in as little as years, not even decades, your entire judicial agenda that we're glad to define with very specific lawsuits is to restrain technology to save us. An intelligent, clever, but fatally unwise, not benevolent, techno-human characteristic is to boom military, financial, and political power grown by those financial, military, industrial technologies. This absolute power, wrote J. William Fulbright, corrupts absolutely. It destroys all humanity, which I'll define as loving respect for and care of all for our good, safe, happy, long lives and children's world able to continue sustaining civilization. Look around, Judge. Amid many partially successful efforts to grow human civilization, many anti-human projects are enabling financial, political, war, profits, and power institutions of human abuse and subjugation unto final, total murder of all. These are winning by our losing. Why? Those horrible, inhuman millennia have yet to spark us little people, victims, angry, desperate, loving, legal fight back, rescue, and justice. Now, at the last human second, most of the world's executive and legislative government branches and the equally weaponeer corrupted United Nations are fully captured by the thieving killers. International courts are equally powerless to stop the genocide. Humanity's one remaining survival chance is each nation's resistors' lawsuits for flouted disarmament law enforcement in their federal courts. So, as Flip Wilson's laugh-in bailiff sang out, "Here come the judge, here come the judge, order in the courtroom, here come the judge." Your Honor, we're all dead without your honor. If you find for humanity against our doomsday governments, your life work will be specific supervision of our national government's continued negotiation of and compliance with our worldwide treaty enforced, obeyed. To succeed, you must fully understand the rules of the deadly power game you must compete in. War technology is human his stories, absolute kill power, anti-human ultimate project. $100 trillion was raised for weapon manufacture, sale, and explosion in human bodies. Also to achieve permanent ruination of the survivors. We're all under privately corrupted government dictatorship against all peaceful democracy among equals, intended only to win every prize for elites correctly certain that mass murder is, for the 1%, immensely profitable. To wreak their total evil power havoc, they must break all good human power, deny every human need to work, love, and play in good health among family and friends. Learn their plan, strategy, and effect judge, including how much of every constitution, treaty, and national law that they shatter, and say, "Thanks for our exact recovery anti-lesson, monsters. Would y'all mind if I just reversed every crazy, vicious, greedy, illegal power that you stole from all of us? That nations supposedly were formed to nurture and protect, not eat alive. Starting with the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, our national law also. You raped it for 57 years. I'll be enforcing it starting today. Your Honor, work with every judge around the world who is about to find for humanity just like you. United we'll live. Divided we'll all die. You swore to uphold our Constitution. More of our lawsuits will come to your court asking for nothing else. Stop Congress and the executive from delivering 2,000-pound civilian apartment city blockbusters to foreign nations to invade others or murder their own people with. Only most of our people's Congress, never war dictators, may legally declare and fight wars against anyone, including identical proxy wars. In the same suit, we'll ask you to forbid delivery of such weapons to foreign warriors, violating all world laws of war against attacking civilians, and our own legislation that forbids our weaponization of proxy power pals who not only savage innocents with these bombs of genocide, but deny the victim survivors their exploded, desperate requirements of more food, water, and medical care that our attacker allies robbed them of. Guess which single nation supplying over half of 250 war's weapons since World War II trashed those laws of just war to directly or proxy war damn near as directly kill 16 million people? Scores of other nations keep turning blind eyes, not to mention opened politicians' wallets, to their hundreds of weapons exporting companies to kill the other 16 million. There's our next lawsuit, Your Honor. Outlaw weapons export beyond borders, period. Accepting our full congressional declarations of war to send our own boys over, shooting and dying with those weapons of war. You will thus cancel all non-war declared appropriations for arms now in every way illegal. Never forget that weapons that you must block manufacture, sales, deployment, and delivery of, in fact, order destruction of existing stocks of, will not, cannot hurt a flea. You will certainly be presented with our suit to replace private finance of candidate publicity with public and equal money only. Weapons companies all over the world now bribe leaders to buy their wars with 1,000 times our tax money. Patriarchy's weapon and army floggers stole most of 10 millennia's human rights and security. Now count the minutes to final, total doomsday. You may feel free to care and worry so deeply about this that you put in extra minutes spreading good karma for peace through the air by ESP. Nothing legal or mandatory, of course. Indeed, this would put you in good company with the 10,000 years of peace whiners who forever begged, "Pretty please stop the slashing, shooting, and bombing, but go ahead and keep every soldier and weapon because we believe your story that infinite mass murder preparation is all for our safety and security. Certainly not just for your profit, power, and hate. Now the same sweeties tell us to ignore the few Looney Tunes who shriek that those billion murders and our seconds from conventional war about to explode to nuclear extinction both prove that weapons will soon kill us all and only disarmament can save us. You judge, egged on by us few law-lashing loonies, are humanity's only law and hope left. Every other anti-war rule and reform thrown out and stinking at every city dump, right on top of our peace-demanding founders' rotting constitutions. Next to flaming piles of international, national, human, and God's laws of love and care. The jackals broke and burned them all, then made most believe their hell on earth to be justice and safety. And our leaders are only in it for themselves against us easy marks who cough up their salaries and power. Only you and I, going to our federal judges, can save the world we must to save our own families. Peace and love laws have, to a big degree, already been made. Just finally defeated, unenforced, trashed. Well, that's all right, 'cause we're gonna make 'em again. Better. With teeth.